Caribbeans are not black and shouldn't be celebrated during Black History Month. Now that I got your attention, I'm going to explain why this is incorrect. So to sum it up, I am in this group chat with some high school friends, you could say, and long story short, I guess they weren't happy about the Black History Month assembly and they voiced their opinion. I guess they didn't like the fact that this dance group called Creative Movement went up on stage and they were shaking their behinds or whatever to Afro beats and dance hall, and she said that actually has nothing to do with Black History Month, which is a celebration of black culture, and black as in... Since I am from a Caribbean descent, I said that she sounded ignorant, and I proceeded to tell her that African and West Indian culture is very important to Black history. Yes, Caribbean and black culture are two different things, but at the end of the day, we're still the same thing and we're black. Both went through oppression, both went through discrimination, both went through slavery. Like, let's talk about it. Then she proceeds to say, Tiana, you're quite literally Caribbean American, not African American. Last time I checked, when I go to apply for a job or fill out any papers, I check off Black African American. Then this person also continues to say that Caribbean American History Month is in June and that we have a whole month to ourselves and to stop colonizing their month. Black History Month is not only to celebrate African Americans, but it's to celebrate all black people and their achievements that helped contribute to black history. Now, I'm not the smartest person, but I know enough about my history to educate others. And it says here that black Jamaicans have made a significant contribution to black history.
If you're black, but you won't say you're black, who wins? Across the Caribbean, from Santo Domingo to Port of Spain, there is a phrase you'll hear over and over again, like, I'm not black, I'm Dominican, I'm not black, I'm Latino, I'm Indian, I'm not African. And if you push back, you'll be called divisive, confused, too American. But here's what nobody wants to admit. This DNA didn't start with us. It was designed, programmed, embedded into our DNA by the same people who enslaved our ancestors. And we've been performing it ever since, generation after generation, calling it culture when it's really just colonization, wearing a different mask. But there is something spiritual and profound shifting. The kids, the diaspora, they are done playing the game. They are saying, I am black and Dominican, I am black and Caribbean. And that's not confusion. That's what we call power. So the question is, are you brave enough to face the truth, or are you still a coward? I want us to talk about this. Come, clips here, let's watch, and then I'll be back, we'll talk about it.
So this video is gonna rub some people the wrong way, but as usual, all you know, I don't care. I will say what I have to say, and it's that. What is up with the competition going on in Trinidad and Guyana since the beginning of time in how Indian somebody could be, right? Especially with the older heads whose skin more light, feel like the Bollywood actress. Them, it's almost like it's a sin to acknowledge that you have Afro roots, right? It's a sin for somebody darker to go ahead and mention that they're Indian. You're not Indian, you're not pure Indian. What that's supposed to mean? I have this one aunt and she prides herself in her kids' skin color, about how light they is, how they like to stay inside because they go get too dark if they stay outside in the sun. You could be having a conversation about mango and tamarind, and some point in the conversation she have to mention that she children light skin, just some way somehow that had to come in the equation. My people from the Caribbean, we are loaded with so much diversity, so much Afro culture, right? Despite how you look, if you're watching this right now and say, oh no, well my skin like this, oh no, well my nose, my lip there, you realize it have Afro roots inside of you. Afro roots, Afro blood flowing through your veins from your ancestors. Wake up.
Can I say nigga? Say it again.
Nigga.
No, you not black.
Black.
You're not black?
Yes, I am. I'm Dominican.
What? That's not black?
Bro, I'm Afro-Latino.
Nah, so are Dominicans really black? Well, I got the answer for you. So for those who are unaware, the Dominican Republic is a Caribbean country and they share an island with Haiti. And over the years, there has been a discussion about why a lot of Dominicans don't claim their blackness and why they say things like, I know black, I'm Dominican. Well, let's take it back to history to find out why this is the case. So the first group of black people who came to DR were indentured workers mainly from Spain and Portugal. And these indentured workers' bloodline and heritage stems from Central and West Africa. And in the 19th and 20th century, a lot of black immigrants actually ended up settling in DR. A lot of them being from the British Indies and some even being from the United States when slavery was abolished. Now, I'm skipping a lot of history and timelines due to the length of this video because this could easily be an hour-long video talking about the history of DR. But to answer the question, yes, Dominicans are definitely black, but it also depends on who you're asking. One of the main reasons why this is an issue is because there's a lot of immigration conflicts between Haiti and DR, being that Haiti is the neighboring country to DR. This conflict arose and still happens today because there are a lot of Haitians who flee the country for a state of living, there being a potential corrupt government, etc., etc. Because of this conflict, this creates a drift between Haitians and Dominicans, which kind of incites a little bit of racism and colorism within Dominicans. The issue is much deeper than that and isn't just related around immigration. That's just one example. The long-winded question to your answer is yes, Dominicans are black. Almost every single Dominican has black in them, and a lot of them look like this straight from DR.
And I think that the big issue where people kind of get confused is that when you tell a Latino that you are black, sometimes the confusion comes in when usually you know that black is African American, Caucasian is white, and everything else, you're Latino. So you're like, no, I'm not black, I'm Latino. But it's stupid to have to explain my color because you can see it. I don't have to say I am black, you see it. So that's where the confusion comes in.
And you know what? It's a beautiful color.
If you're black, you won't say you're black. And then, who wins? That's not a guy question. It's the question that haunts every cookout, every family reunion, every comment section when somebody posts a picture celebrating their roots. Because in the Caribbean, blackness, it's not just an identity. It's a battlefield. And the war, it started 500 years ago. And I want to be clear about something here. The Caribbean exists because of slavery. Full stop. That's not an opinion. That's history. Millions of Africans were dragged across the Atlantic, stripped of their names, their languages, their gods, and forced to build wealth for Europe on sugar plantations that ran red with blood. And here's the kicker, guys. Blackness became the mark of that suffering. It wasn't just a skin color. It was a sentence. To be black was to be property. To be black was to be less than human. To be black was to have no future. So what did people do? They survived. And survival is a world that punished blackness, meant by distancing yourself from it. If your skin was not light enough, you claimed Spanish blood. If you had straight hair, you played up your indigenous roots. If you could pass, you passed. And if you couldn't, you at least made sure your children could. That wasn't cowardice. That was strategy. That was staying alive. But here's where it gets really complicated. That strategy became culture. What started as survival became identity. What started as escape became pride. Fast forward to today, walk through Kingston, Port of Spain, Santo Domingo, Georgetown. You'll see colorism everywhere. Light-skinned children praised for being pretty. Dark-skinned kids told to stay out of the sun. Mothers rubbing their babies' noses, hoping they'll thin out. Family celebrating when someone marries later because it will improve the bloodline. And if you call it out, oh, that's how we are. That's our culture. No, that's colonization talking, bro. That's the ghost of plantation whispering in your grandmother's ear. Because here's what the colonizers knew. You don't need chains when you can convince people to police themselves. You don't need overseers when families will do it for you. Make them believe that light equals to right, that African equals inferior, that blackness equals shame, and they'll enforce it for free, forever. That's the genius and the evil of colorism. It doesn't need white people to survive. It runs on autopilot, generation after generation, fueled by fear, insecurity, and desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, if we are light enough, Spanish enough, mixed enough, we shall be spared. Spared from what? From being seen as a black person, from being treated like Haiti. Let's talk about the elephant in the room right now. The Dominican Republic and Haiti. Two countries on the same island. One speaks Spanish, one speaks French and Creole. One calls itself Latino, the other claims blackness unapologetically. And the Dominican side, it's built an entire national identity on not being Haitian. Now, why is it that? Because Haiti won. In 1804, Haiti became the first black republic in the world, born from the only successful slave rebellion in history. Haiti looked at France and said, we'd rather die free than live enslaved, and they won. But here's the tragedy. Instead of celebrating that victory as a shared Caribbean triumph, the Dominican Republic was taught to fear it. Colonial powers and later the Dominican elite painted Haiti as everything to avoid. It's black, poor, unstable, dangerous, and so for many Dominicans, saying I'm black became synonymous with saying I'm Haitian, and saying I'm Haitian became synonymous with saying I'm less. That division was not natural. It was manufactured, and it's the same playbook used across the Caribbean. Divide the descendants of slaves so they never ever happen to unite. In Trinidad and Guyana, it's Afro-Caribbean versus Indo-Caribbean, with some Indo-Caribbean families competing over how Indian they are, treating African ancestry like contamination. In Jamaica, it's browning culture, where lighter-skinned women are put on pedestal and darker-skinned women are told they are too dark to be pretty. Different islands, same poison. But here's where the story shifts, guys, because the kids, the diaspora, they're not buying it anymore. You've got Afro-Dominicans in New York, Toronto, and Madrid saying I'm black and Dominican. You've got Afro-Latinos creating spaces online, reclaiming words like morena, unpacking trauma, challenging their families, like morena is a mulatto, right? So we've got young Trinis and Bajans pushing back when leaders praise light skin, saying no, that's colorism, that's not culture. And yeah, it's messy. Yes, it's messy. Yeah, there is a pushback. Yes, older generations say you've been Americanized, you don't understand. Yeah, that's what they say, but that's the point. The diaspora does understand. They understand that denying blackness doesn't make you safer, it makes you smaller. They understand that rejecting African roots does not elevate you, it erases you. They understand that colonization didn't end with independence, it just moved inside our minds, and they are done living there. Here's the truth that you'll not hear it anywhere. Denying blackness is exhausting. It's exhausting to look in the mirror and see African features while insisting you're just Latino. You're like, are you stupid? It's exhausting to dance to Afro-Caribbean rhythms, eat Afro-Caribbean food, speak with Afro-Caribbean inflections, and still claim Africa has nothing to do with you. You might be a fool, by the way. And yes, it's exhausting to watch your family celebrate light skin and mourn dark skin, knowing that people they are rejecting look exactly like your ancestors. And yes, it is exhausting because deep down, you know the truth. You know your great-great-grandmother was African. You know the music that moves your soul came from Yoruba drums and Congo rhythms. You know the food that raised you, the rice and peas, the mofongo, the kalalu, came from enslaved people making miracles out of scraps. You know, you've always known that. So why do you keep on pretending that you're not black and yet you're black? Because it's easier, because it's safer, because that's what your parents taught you. Tell me in the comments. Maybe, but at what cost? Because every time you say I'm not black, you're not just denying history, you're denying yourself. You're saying the ancestors who survived the Middle Passage don't matter. You're saying the blood in your veins is shameful. You're saying colonizers were right, and they were not. So here's the way out to embrace it all, guys. You can be black and Caribbean, black and Dominican, you can be black and Trini, you can be black and Guyanese. Black does not erase your nationality, it completes it. Because the Caribbean is African. The music, the food, the resistance, the resilience, that's African transplanted, transformed, and it is thriving. And when you claim that, you say, yes, I'm black, and yes, I'm proud. You're not being divisive, you're being whole. You're honoring the ancestors who didn't get to choose. You're breaking the cycles of shame. You're rewriting the script the colonizers wrote for you. And most importantly, you are free. Free from the lie that you have to pick. Free from the fear that blackness makes you less. Free from the exhausting performance of denial. So yeah, I am black, I am Caribbean, I am both. Fully and unapologetically. Say that, and if that makes you uncomfortable, then good. That means the decolonization is working. Drop a comment down below, tell me your story. Let's heal together. And if this resonated, share it with your friends, family, because somebody in your family needs to hear it. Guys, this is Bantu Merchant. I hope to see you in my next video. Peace.